All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this video of Disney Co. in the Know. Today, we are talking about Magic Kingdom attractions and our advice on how best to utilize FastPass Plus. I am Bruce Beal, owner of 407 and Beyond Vacation Company, and joining us in this discussion is Disney Co. in the Know contributors Val Inslee.
Hello.
And Evan Zimmerman.
Oh, boy.
That's how this is going to start. Very good. Very good. Guys, it's good to have you on the show. I'm looking forward to our discussion on FastPass Plus. But before we begin, I want to say that this video is sponsored by 407 and Beyond Vacation Company, Disney and Universal experts who help plan your family's perfect vacation. So all you have to do is show up, have fun, and create family memories. As always, our services are of no cost to you. Visit us on the web at www.407vacations.com. And to stay in the know, visit our blog page at www.407vacations.com/in-the-know. All right, guys. Before we get into specific attractions at the Magic Kingdom, let's discuss for our viewers and listeners what FastPass Plus is and how we use it for ourselves. For those of you who don't know, you can use the My Disney Experience app on your mobile device to make FastPass selections. Of course, if you book with us, our travel planners can help you make those fast passes. Fast passes are free. There is no additional charge. Children under the age of 3 do not need a fast pass. The nice thing about FastPass Plus on the mobile app is you can link with family and friends, which Evan, Val, we have done several times. And you can make fast passes for each other to make sure you all have the same itinerary. And one point of clarification is fast passes are not just for rides, but you can also use them for character meet and greets, shows, and nighttime shows. You can select FastPass Plus selections up to 30 days in advance of your vacation, starting at 7 a.m. But if you're staying at Walt Disney World property, you can make your selections up to 60 days prior to check-in for the entire length of your stay. You get 3 initial fast passes per day, but after you use your 3 fast passes, you can use the app to make additional fast passes and so on. And you get a 1-hour window in which to make a selection. So if you have a fast pass for Space Mountain at 10 a.m., you have until 11 a.m. to use it, and you cannot use another fast pass selection in that 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. window. So guys, I'm a little winded. I'm going to turn it over to you. That was a lot of information, but what did I miss on FastPass Plus, and what are your strategies when using it?
Evan, I think we should default to you first because Evan actually planned my first Disney vacation. So
I did. I drug her through Disney World the first time. Yeah, I mean, FastPass is like the best way to get through the parks for sure. It just makes it so easy to get the rides you definitely want to get in done, and you know that you're going to be doing them. I guess my personal way of doing it is when I stay at a Disney property, like you said, you get to be able to make the fast passes earlier than other people do. So all the big rides you got to do before most people, like Mine Train, which I'm sure we're going to get talking about today, Space Mountain, those kind of rides that are super popular, you can select them before other people do. What I like to do when I make fast passes is I typically like to plan them as early in the day as possible. So that way you can do your 3 fast passes kind of like consecutively, and then before lunch, you're done with them. So you can start making new fast passes. You don't have to wait until 8 p.m. for your last fast pass of the day to start making new fast passes, because then you just wasted so much of your day waiting for the next fast pass. But that's just because I'm a crazy person. Val?
Evan touched on. For me, I'm not crazy about times. It's just like what I want to do. So I'll like go through the app as much as possible to find exactly what ride I want or like what meet and greet I want. Like it was a really big deal for me to meet Mickey and Minnie in their birthday outfits. So like I made a special fast pass for that at the beginning of a day. You all can laugh. It's a great photo. I wore tie-dye. It's great. It's a Spirit jersey, of course. So so for me, I'm not so much about time. I'm more about what it is that I'm specifically looking for ride or meet and greet wise. So I'm not as nutty about the fast passes. Also, I live in driving distance, so I have the 30-day window. So a lot of times I'm limited to what's open, whereas Evan almost exclusively stays on Disney property, so he always gets the 60-day window, and he can always get the really hard ones. So then I usually just jump on with him.
Yeah, but when I stay at a hotel and Val is in my party, I can add her as part of my reservation. So even though she's not technically staying at the hotel, or even if she's not staying at the hotel, I can add her to my group, and then she gets part of that FastPass. So she gets the perks of the extra FastPass days without having to actually pay for the Disney hotel.
Yeah, so it sounds like we have two camps here. One is Evan is maximize the quantity of fast passes per day, and Val's looking at her relative favorite attractions, shows, and meet and greets, and using them that way. So definitely two different ways to go about making fast pass plus selections. What about, is there anything else that you can think of that you want to mention before we move on to specific attractions?
Yeah, actually, Evan, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but after you use your first initial 3, you're able to go back on My Disney Experience and get one additional Fast Pass. And then when you use that, you can go back on and you can keep adding them one at a time until there isn't any in the park. And the good news about that is, like Evan, who uses his so early in the day, so by noon, he's on the app already looking for the 4th one. And then we're good on that ride at 1. And then by 2 o'clock, he's looking for the 5th one. So he can really, you can get like 8 or 10 fast passes in a day if you know what you're doing. So if like if you have that strategy, you're able to get on more stuff or do more meet and greets. And it's all about a strategy. So but once you use your initial 3, that's a big thing people don't know about, is you can go back on the app and get more, but they have to be one at a time.
But then also, once as soon as you use your 3rd one, or like any additional one after the 3rd one, as soon as you scan your Magic Band and everybody in your party scans it, you can make a new Fast Pass. So I'm the crazy person in the queue line who's, while I'm waiting to go on the ride, I'm already looking at the app to see what's next. What's the next ride that we can do? Because you can just, at the end of the day, you can maximize so many rides because people are leaving. It's not as many people in the park. So you can just jump from ride to ride to ride if you do it that way.
So Evan, this question specifically for you. How many fast passes do you think that you've used in a single day? Like, what's your record?
Oh my God, I don't even know. Probably 12 or 13. There's sometimes, when there's like 2 of you, you can really, really make it stretch.
Yeah.
If you're there the whole day too, which I always am.
Open to close, the Zimmerman way.
Funny. So this is not the method anymore, but back in the day when it was just FastPass without the plus sign, you would have to go to kiosks. And I just remember my mother giving us our tickets and making me and Chase and my older brother Jared run across the park to beat the crowds, to go to the machines, to insert the ticket, to get out the old ticket. It was such a brutal, savage way of getting fast passes. So I'm really thankful for Disney for making fast pass.
Evan, that was your first experience with running the Disney Marathon, right?
Yeah.
Running around the park, getting those paper fast passes.
Essentially, yeah.
That's good. Anything else?
I don't know.
We're good.
That's the facts.
So.
All right, good. Let's move on. I'm going to give Val and Evan some attractions and shows in the Magic Kingdom in which you can get a fast pass. And Val, Evan, your responsibility will be to tell our listeners and viewers whether or not to fast pass it, wait in the queue, or skip the attraction altogether. Now, we should probably preface that we are not going to the parks with kids or little ones, and so our perception on what to skip or fast pass may vary with those who have kids. But we'll try to keep that in mind, that we are going down with friends or as couples, and so just keep that in mind when we pick fast pass, queue it, or skip it. All right.
Can we only pick 3 fast passes, or can we pick more than 3?
No. So I'm going to go down the. You can pick as many as you want. So if you want to tell everybody to fast pass everything, then that is Evan's advice on the Magic Kingdom. So we'll stick to the Magic Kingdom today for this episode, and that'll give us a good excuse to come back and do this for the other parks. So So let's just go ahead and get started. We'll start off with perhaps some easy ones. So FastPass, Q, or skip Val. Let's see, Space Mountain.
FastPass.
FastPass.
That's usually a pretty tough one to get, especially as it gets later in the day.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Evan, what about you?
FastPass for sure.
Yeah. Is there any reason why FastPass other than like it's a main attraction? Because usually the line for this one does get pretty lengthy.
The line is so long, but also when you go inside of it, there's 2 separate boarding areas, and one of them is completely just FastPass people, and so it moves a lot faster than the normal line. And it's so dark in there that I feel like if you're stuck in that line for 60 plus minutes, by the time you come back out into the Florida sunshine, you're gonna have like a seizure because it's so bright all of a sudden.
Yeah, I definitely think that is a valid point, and it's tough to be in the Space Mountain queue, knowing that the other side is nothing but FastPass people. Excuse me, and because usually Space Mountain is, I mean, it has to be an average of at least 60 minutes, unless
At least.
unless and when it's raining, it's more because it's an indoor attraction. So. I don't know about you guys, but just to go on a tangent or to go on another path real quick, I really like riding Space Mountain when in the evening or when it's dark outside. I know that makes almost zero sense because it's an indoor attraction, but there's something about it being really cool, temperature wise inside and dark, that it just feels kind of like natural when you go in and out. There's something to me special about Space Mountain at night, and that makes no sense at all.
I will rebut with, I think it's great during the events when they do blackout on Space Mountain, which makes it like an entirely different ride completely. And all they did was like turn on some like crazy music and like do some weird strobe lighting. And suddenly you're like, I've never been on this ride before. It's actually a lot scarier when they turn on the lights and just do strobes.
It's so scary.
Have either of you been on Space Mountain with the lights on?
Like when it breaks down and the lights come up?
Yeah.
No.
Have you ever seen photos of it with the lights on? It's pretty cool. My goal is to someday be in there when the lights do kick on. Whether I'm on the People Mover or Space Mountain, the attraction, I just want to see it with the lights on. But all right, how about an easy one? How about Peter Pan's Flight? Evan, what do you think? FastPass, queue it, or skip it altogether?
FastPass.
Yeah.
It's 3 minutes. It's so short, but it's like classic Disney. It's so good. And they've recently like fixed it up and repainted everything. It's just a magical little thing. It's pretty nice. Here's a tip. If you have kids you're going with, I went with my nephew and the whole family fast passed it, but because he's under 3, he doesn't need a fast pass. So my brother and I went on first and took August, and we got off the ride and we passed him off to my mom and dad, and they took August on the ride. And then they got off the ride and they gave it to his parents, and they went on the ride. So August got to ride it 3 times because we separated our fast passes.
That is pretty good. Val, what about you?
Skip it.
Skip the ride altogether.
Yes. I knew you were going to do this, Evan. So it is a very cute ride. It is, but it is, I think it's less than 3 minutes.
It's pretty
short. And though it is an opening day attraction at Walt Disney World, and the technology is pretty impressive for that era, once you've ridden it once, you've ridden it. And I don't think I've been on it since the very first trip, because the line is always ridiculously long for God knows what reason, and it is just not worth it.
I don't know what to say. You render me speechless. No,
I'm sorry.
No. I think that's good because one thing that our clients or guests do say about Peter Pan is it was a great attraction. They had a lot of fun, flying, but that it is so short. And for whatever reason, Peter Pan's Flight usually has one of the longest lines in the Magic Kingdom. I don't know what it is, if it's because, Val, to your point, it's that classic attraction. It's been there forever. It's nostalgic. But it always renders like some of the longest lines.
it's a good barometer how busy the park is for the day if you check the app and see how long the line is for Peter Pan's flight. Because if it's anywhere close to 60 minutes, you're like, okay, it's going to be a good day at the park because Peter Pan's flight's only 60 minutes.
That's true. That's true. All right. Anything else on Peter Pan's flight? We have one fast pass it and one skip it.
Wow.
Wow. No, that's good. That's good variety and good advice for those booking their trips. So how about let's stay in original Fantasyland and go to another classic attraction, It's a Small World. Val, on It's a Small World, are you going to get a fast pass, wait in the queue, or skip it altogether?
Okay, so I kind of dance between skip it altogether or wait in the queue if the queue isn't too long. That's another queue that can kind of get out of hand for no real apparent reason. But I don't know. It's not my favorite. I think I've only been on it twice in Magic Kingdom. So
Val, let's expand the skip to skip it or queue it. So what is the length of time for that attraction that you'd be willing to wait? Maybe we should say, okay, so 20 minutes and that's it.
Yeah. I got other things to do.
Fair.
I think that there are so many other ways to fill my time at Disney that the classics sometimes don't do it for me if I have to wait very long. If I have to sacrifice a lot of my time. Sorry. I feel like I'm hurting Evan so much and I don't want to.
Val, you don't have to apologize after all of your choices. That's too funny. All right, Evan, what about you?
I'm going to queue it. It's not worth the fast pass. It's a classic, but I would queue it. Plus it's a boat ride, so they can shove so many people on one of those boats. So it does move pretty fast. But Val is right. I'm not going to wait an hour for Small World, Just keep checking to see what the time is and hit it at the right time, and it will go pretty fast. But if you're going to be in an hour line there listening to It's a Small World now, over and over again for an hour, you might kill your child at the end of it. So wait in a shorter line, but it is worth it. It's a cute ride.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. And I have to say, Val, It's a Small World is one of my favorite attractions, not because the song is catchy, because it does get stuck in your head, and not because it's the most thrilling or exciting, but it's because it is one of the most classic. When it was at the World's Fair, and Walt's hand was in on that attraction. So I know that I'm not really participating in this showdown, but I would say queue it. And I think Val's right. I would say, 30 minutes and under is fair for this attraction. Anything over 30 minutes, and I think it's a bit of a stretch. It may not be worth it because, as Val says, you have other stuff to do. So let's go to a meet and greet. Still remaining in Fantasyland, and that's meeting Cinderella at Fairy Tale Hall. Is meeting Cinderella worth a fast pass? I guess this kind of goes to a larger question of using a fast pass for a meet and greet. So, Evan, what do you think?
Skip it. You can see her at the parades. You can see her at the shows. I mean, if you have a kid with you and she or he likes Cinderella, absolutely go meet Cinderella. Or if you've already used all your fun fast passes and you have another one and it shows up, do it. Why not? But it's not going to be my go-to choice 60 days before it's not going to be one of my original fast pass choices.
Val?
I would also say skip it, except if you have a kid. And then also something to point out that Tiana and Cinderella are together. So you get to meet both of them. I only know this because I went to the pass holder event and they're both in the same room. So there's both of the meet and greet. So you meet one and then move over to meet the other. Also to say Tiana has the best outfit. It's so amazing. But yeah, I only did that because there was zero wait and it was a pass holder event. Otherwise I would never have met them. But I think if getting those princess signatures and getting those pictures with your kids is really important, that absolutely fast pass the characters. If not, there's usually going to be too long of a wait for you to kind of stand around to meet them. But they are really fun to meet. But
didn't you once upon a time meet Ariel in a fast pass?
That we'll get to that later. I'm sure that story is something that everyone would like to hear. Thank you, Evan.
You're welcome.
Do we not have time for this story now?
Oh, do you want the story now? Okay, fantastic.
Sure, let's do it.
I forget what ride everybody went on, but I didn't want to go on it again. Was it Space Mountain? Usually
I think it
is.
was
I'm hit or
Space
miss on Space Mountain. So I had never ridden the Voyage of the Little Mermaid, and they're like, you should do that. And I said, okay. And I fast passed Voyage to the Little Mermaid, or what I thought was Voyage of the Little Mermaid. Because it's in like the grotto, and I'm standing there, and this girl comes out and goes, are you ready to meet Ariel? And I went, yeah. And then I walk in, and it's actually a meet and greet and not the ride, and I got into the wrong queue, and I had fast passed the wrong thing.
You went to the grotto.
Yep. So
Yeah.
I met Ariel. It was kind of awkward. You could tell that I think in the photos that I like wasn't ready to like sit down with a princess. I like was very like, haha. So yeah, and everyone mocked me for the rest of the trip.
That's funny. That's a good story. I'm glad we took a break to hear that, because that's pretty good. So, all right, last attraction over in Fantasyland, and one that renders extremely long lines anytime throughout the day, and that's Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. How do we feel about this, Val?
Fast pass it. It is the smoothest, best little coaster. My only complaint is it goes really fast. It's not a very long ride, but it's done so brilliantly. It's a Disney must-have, must-do, must.
Evan, what about you?
I agree. Fast pass it for sure. It's like the hot commodity at Magic Kingdom. It always goes away the first ride. I will say, if you can ask at Disney what seat you want to sit in. If you ask, they'll say yes. Ask to sit in the back row. It's a completely different ride in the back row, and it's a much better ride, I think. It's faster. You fly over the curbs fast, and in the front, you're just kind of going, oh! So it's definitely worth it, but if you do it and you get it, sit in the back.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. I do think the back is a little better, and I do feel like you get a little bit more time in that end scene where they're dancing, because if you're in the front, you go by it so quickly that at least in the back you're starting to slow down as you come into the entrance. So yeah, I totally agree, and I would agree with you guys that this is definitely worth a fast pass. It definitely probably is the ride that goes first, where there are no more fast passes for throughout the day. So if you are looking for a roller coaster to ride with your little ones, this is a good one. It's not intense, but it is exciting. And the animatronics when they're in the mines and at the end when they're dancing it's a lot of fun. And the queue is a lot of fun too. The queue is really cute with the different lanterns out front. And you kind of go through the greenery and into the caves a little bit, but you don't want to be in that queue for 120, 150, 180 minutes. So it's a cute queue, but fast pass this one for sure. So let's head on over to Liberty Square and let's talk about the Haunted Mansion.
Ooh.
Evan, do you fast pass this one, queue it, or skip it?
I'm going to fast pass it. I like Haunted Mansion. It's like the perfect ride on a really hot Florida day. It's so cold inside. And it's a classic.
Val?
I'm in agreement. This is like the classic ride I love at Disney. So we definitely fast pass this one. This is another one where the line gets a little crazy. So even the fast pass line can get crazy. Sometimes it's all the way out and you're like, how are we doing this? But yes, fast pass this one. It's a lot of fun. And if you have little ones and never been on it, if you have no frame of reference, it is not as scary as you think it's going to be.
Yeah, that's true. I will say that this is one of my top, 2 or 3 favorite attractions at the Magic Kingdom. It does feel classic. I love Memento Mori's gift shop right outside. And even though it is one of my favorite attractions and I will fast pass it, and if I can, and I will sit or stand in the queue, for up to 45 minutes. The part of this queue, there's one part of this queue that drives me crazy every time I go on this ride. And I don't know if you guys can predict which part I'm going to refer to, but it's after you leave the room that's the pre-show, and you go and the dune buggies are going by, and everybody has to do this funnel. They never put up any sort of like turnstiles or ropes or anything. It's just kind of like a free-for-all. And even though you're only in there with like, 30, 40 people, it's always like a mad dash to the dune buggies. But what are you
You
gonna
immediately
do?
get pressed up against the wall, whether you want to be or not.
Yeah.
You're against the wall, and you're like, oh, great.
When we went, we all like held hands. We
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
like stay together, stay together.
that's true. That's funny. All right, let's go back across the park and let's talk about Frontierland. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Evan, you gonna get a fast pass? You're gonna wait in this queue, or you're gonna skip this attraction altogether?
I'm gonna fast pass it just because I don't have to just choose 3. So I'm gonna fast pass.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with fast passing this one because that queue is so hot.
Yeah.
In the middle of the day, or at least when the sun is shining, that queue, and with everybody in there, sweating, waiting in the queue together, and it's just so hot. It just like roasts under the sun. So I'm definitely fast passing this one. I don't want to skip the attraction because of the queue, but I'm definitely going to get a fast pass. Val, what about you?
Oh, absolutely. This is definitely a fast pass one. This is one of the hottest rides. And I think it's because you go inside and then you go down. Ugh, that ramp is always, the ramp always smells like BO no matter what time of year it is. And it's awful. So like the least amount of time I have to stand in that queue is pretty good. Like, let's do it. Let's quick it. Hurry up.
That's too funny. What about Big Thunder Mountain's neighbor, Splash Mountain, the water attraction? This really can render some lengthy wait times because it is a water attraction and you will get wet. And in the summer heat, in the Florida heat, usually people are looking to get on this attraction. So, what do you guys think about this one?
Fast pass for sure. It's my favorite ride.
In
And
the
it's
Magic
like,
Kingdom?
probably like one of my overall favorite rides. I love Splash Mountain. And it's like 15 minutes long. It is a long ride. You get a bang for your buck on Splash Mountain.
Yeah, that's so true. It is definitely one of the longer attractions, and it's cool temperature wise. So like when you go down the hills and there's like the bees going around the hives, it just always feels like you're sweaty, and then you're inside this queue and they're blasting air conditioning, and then all of a sudden you get cold for a little bit. So it's definitely a nice break from the Florida sun. Val, what about you?
I would probably queue this ride. It is not my favorite. I'm notorious. I don't really like drops. This one isn't that bad, but it's still not my favorite ride. I will say that if you are not small, I am not small, my legs always end up really cramped on this ride. Like I'm 5'10", so my legs are always touching the front, like my knees are in the front of the seat in front of me. So like by the last like drop and turn around, like my legs ache. Like I'm ready to get out of the car. And that's my biggest complaint with this one. I've learned to embrace the story. I have learned to embrace all of the drops. They aren't that bad, but the leg room is really bothersome, and I've yet to be on it where I'm not like, oh, like when I get off of it. So that's my, like, I'll wait 40 minutes for this if I'm dying of heat stroke. If not, I won't.
What do you guys think of this queue? I mean, it is kind of fun. It is also hot. It is right underneath the one of the train stations for the train going around the park. But do you like this queue or not?
I mean, you're essentially outside the entire time until you're not. You're like outside
Well
until
put.
you're just, yeah. You're outside and then they take you into a tunnel, which is suddenly like so cold, like you said. But this is one of the rides where a lot of people fast pass it. So if you queue it, you just see all the people fast passing it coming in front of you, and you see the Disney cast member just like, okay, now you, and you're just like, wait, when's it my turn? So just for that reason alone, for your mental health, I say fast pass it.
But it's hot when you're outside, but as soon as you get inside, it's like the air is pumping. You find those like rocks that have just air blasting out of them, and you're like, oh, thank God.
That is too funny. Yeah, I wonder we could probably do an episode of this where we pick which attractions to fast pass solely based on how we feel in the attractions when we don't have a fast pass.
Yeah.
And you're in line
Right.
next to the people who are just zooming by you.
Yeah,
Well, something that you all need to know about Evan is Evan doesn't want to wait in line. Evan wants to maximize. He wants to cover the entire park 6 times over. So if you can give him an extra 5 minutes, he's going to take those extra 5 minutes.
I'm down to do Splash Mountain at 9 p.m. at night because there's no line and you can walk right on, and I'm okay getting wet. But some people are not. So
all right. Well, speaking of water rides, what about over in Adventureland doing Pirates of the Caribbean? This sometimes can be a 15-minute wait depending on the time of day, but you could also walk by and it say 80 minutes. So another slow-moving boat ride that does is kind of lengthy, so could be well worth the queue time or the fast pass. Val, for Pirates of the Caribbean, which one are you choosing? You gonna fast pass it, skip it, or queue it?
I always queue this ride. I don't think I've waited longer than 20 minutes for this ride in all of the times I've been to Disney. I think I'm just good about hitting it at a certain time of day where it really works. But yeah, it's cool down there. It's it's Pirates. It's very classic Disney. I always sit on the right side of the boat because I love the man and the 2 pigs in the mud. I make sure I'm always on that side. And then yeah, I don't think I've ever used a fast pass for this. And it's also like it's very well scented with Florida water.
Yes.
So that it's a very distinct smell.
Yes, the bromine or chemical bromine in the water is so, you're right, distinctful that there's something about it that you just get into this attraction. You're like, oh yes. The smells are even good in this one. Evan, what about you?
I agree. I would agree with Val. I would queue this ride. It's another like small world. It's a big boat. They're loading it on both sides. It moves fast. And you can see when you're in the line how the line used to be, like how much it used to crawl within the space, which you never see anymore. Because it's a popular ride, but it's never crazy busy. For us, at least. But this is one of the rides I would fast pass it at night if I have an extra fast pass and it's there. But if it's during the day, I would just queue it.
Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry to point out, the inlay for this one for the Halloween party is really fun because they put live actors. You have live actors in the ride and in the queue, and that's really, really fun. That's a whole different level because you get to like interact with them. A lot of the kids give him candy from the trick-or-treat bags, and then one guy's just like walking around the ride screaming things and like interacting with people in the boat, and it was really neat. So that if you go during one of the Halloween parties, that's one of the best inlays.
That is definitely a good tip. Let's do a couple more here before we wrap up. Let's go to Tomorrowland, and we were there for Space Mountain, but I want to ask you guys about Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. This is another one of those attractions that averages between 25, 45, 60 minutes, but the line can definitely add up very quickly. So Val, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, we're going to fast pass this one or not? Or is this going to be on your skip list?
This is actually one of my favorite rides in Magic Kingdom. I never miss this. I usually go on it multiple times when I'm in Magic Kingdom. So the first time I'm there, I will always fast pass this. This is actually quintessential Val trip by herself. I start at this ride. This is where my Disney vacation begins. So I love this ride. It is so much fun. I can never get the high score. Fast pass it.
Evan, what about you?
Well, I did get the high score. I will definitely fast pass it. I love this ride. It's my mom's favorite also, and so I think that makes me like it as much too, because it's fun.
It definitely is fun. I would say that this attraction would be well done by if it just received a fresh coat of paint every once in a while. For whatever reason, that queue is always so shipped up.
They are.
Right,
last
yeah.
time I was there, they were redoing it.
Yeah.
But I forget when that was.
I think it was actually in December. when we were all there together that
Oh yeah.
it was under construction. So I mean, definitely needed. I, for whatever reason, cannot seem to aim that little gun and hit the targets in which I'm thinking I'm hitting. So I'm always like putting my hand on the other side of the gun to see if the laser is working, because I can pretty much come out of that attraction every time with little to no points. So I do
using moving objects.
hit the moving objects. That's the key.
Yeah, that's the key.
All right. Now for everybody listening and watching this show, they should be getting higher points now. What is the highest score or title?
Oh.
Straight nines.
What is it? Like
Galactic Hero or?
I think it's
Galactic Hero. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I've never been a Galactic Hero, so.
Me neither.
Also,
but if you are a Galactic Hero and you tell them at the end of the ride, you get a special sticker that says "I am the Galactic Hero."
Evan,
So,
did you know that?
That's something that you need to know about.
Hero? You didn't tell me this?
No.
Wow.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
Too funny. What about the People Mover?
Can you fast pass the people?
I'm joking.
It's my favorite though. I love the People Mover.
I really do love the People Mover as well.
Actually, did you see? There's a Instagram Disney group, and they were like putting two different rides together, and the final two rides were Flight of Passage and People Mover, and People Mover won.
Really?
It won like the best ride with like 50.1% of the vote.
I do love the People Mover. I didn't know if I could put it above like Flight of Passage or Rise of the Resistance, but it is classic. I do love, going around the top of Tomorrowland.
It's out of this world. Huh?
We're gonna have a show where Evan just does voice imitations.
All the voices.
Too funny. All right. What about Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor? Evan?
Cue it.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's interactive. It's different every time because there's live people doing the voices. So it's always changing. But don't fast pass it.
Yeah, I agree. Don't fast pass it, and don't wait in the queue a really long time. Kind of like some of the other attractions we were talking about, 20, 30 minutes may be fair, but I certainly wouldn't wait longer than 30 minutes. Val, what about you?
Yeah, this is a queue one, especially if it's not too long. And it is really fun, and it changes all the time. And if you happen to get an adult who doesn't want to participate, the comedians behind the screens basically read down the people, which is really fun to watch. So it's different every time. It's really good if you've got kids. This is a good whole family ride or attraction to go to. So, but yeah, queue it if it's not too long.
It's good to know that it's a show, and so that if it's a long queue line, there's only so many people that fit in the theater, and they have to do the entire show. And so the line goes and then stops, and you wait for a long time, and then it goes and you stop and you wait for a long time. So just keep that in mind if you have little kids who are gonna get antsy waiting a long time without moving in the line.
Yeah. That's really good insight. You do move in blocks through this queue, so that's good. And there's not really a whole lot of entertainment in this queue. There is kind of that last segment where you're kind of stuck on that ramp, and they do have some TVs, but you do have to entertain your kids. To Evan's point. So, all right. This one is specifically in light of Val's story. So I do want to ask you guys, cue it, fast pass it, or skip Ariel's Grotto meet and greet. And Val, we have to start with you. What do you think?
Please skip it.
Skip the whole thing altogether, huh?
Yeah, unless you've got a kid that's very into princesses. It was a little uncomfortable because you have to sit next to her because she doesn't stand. So, it was just awkward. I'm just a hard pass on that one.
All right. New categories. Now, it's not skip it. It's a hard pass. Evan,
Skip
what
it,
about
hard
you?
pass.
I'm gonna skip it. Yeah, I'm gonna skip it. I like the character meet and greets, but Val's right. It's a little, if you don't have a kid with you who wants to meet them, it's a little awkward. in my opinion, because you just have to make small talk with somebody in a wig. But they're very good. They're very good at what they do. But I'll go meet Gaston. If that was a fast pass, I'd meet Gaston. But it's just a queue.
Gaston really does have good also interaction with guests. He's poking fun, and he's really interacting with guests. So that's also a fun one just to watch for a couple minutes as you walk by. So the lesson from today's show is do not mix up your fast passes between the Voyage of the Little Mermaid and Ariel's Grotto. So very good. All right, are there any attractions or shows? Obviously, we didn't hit them all, but are there any that you want to talk about specifically about what you fast pass or you really like a queue in the Magic Kingdom?
I love Carousel of Progress. It's not really a queue, but it's a nice ride if you have kids and it's hot. You can just sit down and go in a circle. It's nice. I do it every single time we're there because I love it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Carousel Progress is one of my favorite attractions at the Magic Kingdom. It is classic. And just going through those 4 scenes from throughout time, it is a lot of fun. I never feel like I wait very long for that attraction anyway. So I totally agree. Val, are there anything that you want to bring up?
Country Bear Jamboree is weird. It's a classic. People love it. There's a cult following for the Country Bear Jamboree. I am not one of those people, but I always seem to find myself there on a hot day because other people want to go and it's well air conditioned. So if you've never been before, like me, the first time I was really confused what was happening. So and the lyrics are a little outdated and maybe not the best, but now it's fun to laugh through. But first time I was very taken aback.
So are you queuing that one or skipping it?
What's the temperature outside?
It's hot.
We're gonna go. We're gonna queue it.
Gotcha. So some of our choices are based on the Florida weather, huh?
Sometimes you have to. Like it can be really miserable. Like we went in July and it was like we knew it was gonna be hot, but when you get out there, you're like, I don't know if I can do this for 12 hours. We did it for 12 hours, but you weren't sure you were gonna make it. So you were like a few times a day. Like when you would go around a sharp corner on something and there was a breeze, you're like, oh, thank you. But it was bad. I mean, and a lot of times, a lot of these parents, that's when they have to go when school's out in July and August, these hot months. So you have to do the most that you can. So if it means sitting through an awkward bear show because it's air conditioned for 15 minutes, do it.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Well, Val, Evan, thanks for being on the show today. I do want to say to visit us on Facebook at 407 and Beyond Vacation Company and join in on the discussion on our Facebook group, Disney Co. in the Know, and check out our blog and other podcasts at www.407vacations.com/in-the-know. Val, Evan, I think you gave viewers and listeners some really good advice. And I think, anybody watching or listening to the show is ready to make their Fast Pass selections for Magic Kingdom. So, guys, thanks again. It was a fun conversation, and we'll be back and we'll talk about one of the other 3 remaining parks on the list. So, guys, until then, I'll see you later.
See you real soon.
You stole it from me. Love you.